As you can see from the title of the video, you're probably very confused as to what do I mean by this. But first, we're going to be lucky today. I guess not. So yeah, content creation is pretty much like a business, or at least I like to think of it like this. And obviously you may not agree/disagree. And that's okay. The reason why I say it's like a business is because I guess the goal is to drive awareness to your video, which is essentially the product that you're listing on whatever platform it is. The same way with a business, if you've got a physical business, you'll be listing something on a website or whatever platform you plan to list on. And because content creation is so kind of multifaceted, I think that's the right word. I could be completely wrong, but it's very similar to business because you've got, for example, you have things like sales, which could be maybe equivalent to how well your video delivers, how well is the content, how well is the hook, title, and so on and so on. You also got like the marketing side of things. Maybe if you're collaborating with other creators, that's obviously a form of marketing. Maybe even things like thumbnail could be considered as similar. But we're going to be lucky again today. But yeah, essentially, obviously the marketing is going to be bringing as many people to your product as possible. So you can tie that into the sales side of things, I guess, in a way. And then obviously you've got the product at hand, which is the video itself that leads to the channel, which is the name of the business. And that kind of says, you don't really got to explain that, right? You list the video, that's your product right there. And the more people that click on your video and see your video and stuff like that is how well essentially you're selling the video or audio or whatever it is that you put out. It goes the same with things like blogs or anything really, just anything online, I guess. And then obviously you've got things like community, which is still fairly kind of new in terms of business. Usually businesses in the past, they didn't really have that sense of community. Obviously you've had brand loyalty and things like that, which also exists with content creation. But obviously now people are starting to, or at least businesses are starting to sort of bring community about. And yeah, probably because of the power of social media and things like that. So again, it goes exactly the same for social media. And obviously, in a sense, you're basically kind of selling to the general public, or maybe whatever kind of niche or specialized channel that you have. You can also kind of go into that kind of side of things, which again, it's just like business. You've got different genres, categories, and types of businesses and all that stuff. Same thing goes with content. You get the point, basically. And to be honest, I think seeing it like in this way as well is really good because rather than maybe working hard on a specific piece of content or something like that, and then you're saying maybe, why didn't it work out well? Or at least you've sort of put these expectations on the views or likes that it may bring. But that's not how it works. Not entirely. And this is why when you think of it like a business, you sort of start to use things like metrics. You start to think on more trend-based or the different kind of types of videos we have now, and whether or not we want to kind of dive into that, those kind of things. Like, are the topics really talked about? Is the title as good as it could be? And for example, which people watch my videos the most, which people watch the least, and just basically any kind of data that you can collect behind the channel itself, the business, if you will. And then you can also find out what kind of departments need improvement. Because again, you've got data by your side, and data is a very, very, very powerful tool that I don't think enough people really utilize. And again, I get it. It's not exactly the most fun thing to look at it, but it has its validity for sure. I mean, obviously, I'm not exactly the most qualified person to make this video. I mean, obviously, as you can see, I have 600 subs, I think, which to me, that's a lot. But obviously to the general internet, not so much. And I think this kind of awareness, even if you don't want to think of it like this, because again, even maybe thinking of it as, I mean, this could even suck out the fun of it, right? If you think of it as something like a business, for example, but because your main thing is to create for the sake of creating, to bring joy to people. And then when you start thinking about business and things like that, you're just like, oh man, I don't want to complicate it any further. I completely get that. And to be honest, you have to do what works for you. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with this stuff over here. We already got a helmet, so I think I'd rather take respiration at the moment. I could have sworn there were 2 chests on these things, but maybe not. Onwards. But yeah, I completely get it with the whole, yeah, you don't want to think about it too much. But then it's like at the same time, then don't expect to have certain results. You know, if you're creating for the sake of creating and joy, and it's what you really want to do, then you're not really going to care about growing. You just want to care about just getting your things out there. In my opinion, pretty much whole metric of being successful on these kind of platforms like YouTube, like what I'm on right now. Metric of success is literally just attention to views, likes, comments, subscribers. That's just how the game is, I guess you could say. Or you can say the industry. But it's definitely a different kind of perspective. But I don't think many people would be kind of talking about it like this. Or maybe people do, or they realize this anyway. But especially if you're someone that's maybe trying to build your own sort of private brand or public brand, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it definitely helps in that kind of department too. I think it does. And you also have to understand that I'm pretty sure most businesses fail. I think personally it's because people have to learn through experience. Some things work, some things don't. So some ideas might not work, and your ability to essentially adapt and overcome obstacles whilst delivering an utmost kind of focus on the quality and the value of the product itself, whilst being able to stay relevant, is what's kind of key. I think the term for that is called pivoting. So you want to pivot to something that works better. And the same is for content. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's like 1% of people, or 10% maybe, have like 1,000 subscribers or more. And that's pretty crazy when you think about it. So don't give up. Figure out what kind of works well, what doesn't work well, and just honestly just move from there, because you ain't gonna sort of go forward unless you keep trying and you keep learning. And you'll learn a lot. I have. And I still continue to. That's the beauty of it, because things are always changing, and your ability to essentially pivot to a changing direction is what will kind of help you so much in the long run. But just don't give up, because that's when it really does stop. I think I'm going to end the video there, mainly because I don't want to be waffling too much, you know, you get the point. And I hope this might have inspired someone. That'd be pretty cool. On that note, peace and blessings to you all, and we'll be back in the next one.